So today, I want to share a really powerful idea that's probably holding a lot of people back from truly enjoying the value of reading, truly enjoying the fruits that the humanities will bring into your life, truly enjoying that everything this reading skill that you get to cultivate gets to offer you for the rest of your life. Because yes, once you've developed the skill, it will keep on bearing fruit. Different parts of your life will unfold in unexpected ways when you learn how to read, and then different interest areas that you thought was never possible for you start to open up once you learn this one skill, which is learning how to read. But yeah, one thing keeps holding us back. So we're going to flush it out today. We're going to flush it out of your system, and we're going to teach you how to integrate this into your life. But before we start here, if you're a big fan of what I've been doing on YouTube, you like the ideas that I talk about, you want more of it, make sure to sign up for the newsletter, A Mug of Insights, where I send you a newsletter every Saturday featuring one big idea, which is something that we will continue to talk about on this channel, and 2 journal prompts to help you become a more formidable reader in the age of distractions. And if you sign up right now, you get a 7-day free email course for deeper reading, where I'll take you through a 7-day sequence where every day comes with an exercise, and this whole sequence is designed for you to rewire your relationship with reading so that you stop treating it as a scary thing. You know, anyone can do it, and if you have a bit of stamina, you can do it. So to access the weekly newsletter and more, head over to amugofinsights.org. This is the HQ of all my operations. A lot of these videos are based on some of the posts from A Mug of Insights, so make sure to sign up to get these ideas firsthand. And now, back to today's video. Now, I think something quite strange is happening with the humanities, or something quite unprecedented is happening with the skill of reading, especially as it starts to decline because the market doesn't need it anymore, and a lot of students think that they don't really need the skill anymore. And what started happening is that reading gradually morphed from a pleasant pastime, or something that you can't see yourself doing in your spare time, gradually into this really heavy, duty-bound kind of moral obligation, right? How many YouTube videos have you seen to tell you to put down your phone and go read a book? Even though there's a lot of scientific literature out there proving how good reading is for your brain, I think there's an added dimension of this obligation and duty that's honestly putting a lot of people off from reading. And even for the people who are into reading, even for the people who are supposedly reading their 20, 30 books a year, you know, these people are not having that much of a better time, because the minute they stop reading, guilt all of a sudden starts to grip them, you know, and this gets these people into the trap of reading whatever the hell just to fulfill a reader's quota, just so they can keep their membership in a commonwealth of letters or commonwealth of readers. So the dynamic right now, as I've observed, is that people who really want to get into reading, they feel really intimidated, because they feel like it's this really big and heavy thing. You know, I have to read this, otherwise I'm not qualified to become a member in a commonwealth of readers. Whereas readers who read a ton nowadays, they see it as this, you know, guilt-driven thing. You know, if they stop doing it, they'll lose a sense of self. And personally in my life, I've had many a cycles of this kind of guilt, and I'm becoming a reader and I'm falling off the wagon, and then becoming a reader again and falling off the wagon again. And this is what I've basically concluded. My worst moments in my self-education journey came from those periods when I was taking myself too seriously, or when I was taking that identity of a reader way too seriously. So reading becomes this obligation. I'm not enjoying the text. I'm not putting myself in the shoes of the characters. I'm not analyzing passages from philosophy books just because I loved it, but it was out of obligation to fulfill a quota. Whereas the best moments where I had just a really pleasant time with a novel, really pleasant time with a philosophy book, was when I was kind of in a free roaming state. My mind is relaxed. I'm able to synthesize everything I've been reading. I'm able to really think about the ideas just out of the love of it, with no obligations, with no necessity, with no one telling me that, hey, this is supposed to be good for you. So what I'm proposing here is that rather than treating reading as a moral obligation, think of reading as medicine, not food. Think of it not as performance, but a life-enhancing skill that comes from your heart. So already a lot of you guys are probably typing in the comments, we love this idea, you know, we should just read with our curiosities alone. You know, let's do this all together. So hold your horses. There's still quite a gap between this intention to how we actually engage with reading in our lives. So most people, myself included from a few years ago, my approach with this kind of undefined reader's trap, where I was just merely reading just to read, was to jam my TBR with all kinds of crap. right? If there's a new release novel, I would read that. If there's a Pulitzer Prize winner over there, I would add it onto my TBR. So over time, as readers or potential readers or novice readers with this guilt problem, we want to stuff our TBR with as many books as possible. We always harvest recommendations. We harvest recommendations from magazines because we want to be that well-read person. This results in a very unintentional reading streak. So on the one hand, you're not really reading towards a target, and you're not really treating books as medicine. You're treating it as performance. You're trying to hit a quota, and after a while, you read 20, 30 books and nothing in your life changes. Whereas a better way to do this, at least in my experience, is to go on offense. By going on offense, you're in a sense planning out what you want out of reading first before you reverse engineer how you're going to take reading into your life. As a pretty realistic example, 2026 is my year of the classics. Because even, sometimes I think to myself, with an English major, surely I've read a lot of books. But in fact, there were a lot of classics that I haven't read. There are a lot of classics that I really want to sit down and really immerse myself into their worlds. So my TBR for 2026 is so tiny compared to some of your TBRs with like 50 or 60 books. Mine was literally just 12 classics that I wanted to finish this year. 12 classics that I've always wanted to read, always wanted to experience firsthand. Same with you. If you really want to embody everything we've been teaching on this channel, you have to start by setting out your intentions. What do you want out of reading? Because there's no longer a Mr. Hunt from your English class yelling at you for reading it wrong, and now you really have to steer your own ship. You really have to figure out, what am I actually getting out of this reading experience? And all of my videos are merely guides and tools for you to access what you want on a deeper level. And this is what I call constructing a lean TBR, is where you start off with intention first, reverse engineer 12 to 20 titles every year according to your intentions, and then you would end up treating all these books as life-affirming tools instead of a moral obligation that you have to check off a list. But if you just spend 20 minutes at the start of the month, put pen to paper, and ask yourself, what am I trying to get out of this reading experience? And how do I continue to do it so as to sustain it for the long term? Can you really escape that whole cycle of this guilt or reading seen as a moral obligation thing? And I think even beyond that, there's a bigger point. For people who are tempted to stuff every second of their lives with reading, or every minute of their lives with reading, sometimes I start to think, especially now that I've been getting a little bit older, I think that's a subtle form of escape from some other part of your life that you really need to work on. There's no reason why you need 100 books in your TBR. And if you are so adamant about that, something tells me that there's another part of your life that's a little bit out of whack. And for me, that was my health. When I was the most invested in my 60 booked TBR back in the days, I was neglecting my health. I wasn't paying attention to diet and exercise, and I was frankly just seeking escape from books without realizing that these books are supposed to be here to affirm your life, to give you the tools, the mindsets, and the courage for you to face reality once you've closed the epilogue. And when a lot of people hear this kind of lean TBR framework, or when a lot of people hear about this, you only need about 12 to 20 books to completely flip your life upside down if you know how to choose the right ones. If you set out your intentions early, they think by reading so little, somehow a badge is being stripped away from them. But actually, not really. It merely gives you the permission to explore other aspects of your life with the insights that you've gained from reading all the stuff that you proclaim to love. So in the end, life and your reading projects should have a symbiotic relationship where you get new ideas from reading, and then in life you can recognize the ramifications of some of these ideas that you've read from books, and then you go back to read another book to expand on something that you didn't know, and then this verification process builds you into a better thinker and someone who's able to think in shades of gray about the world. Because in the end, whipping yourself with guilt or to try to keep up an identity of reader could only get you so far. The end goal here is not to become a reader, but to integrate reading into your life based on your design, based on the skills that we've been trying to cover here on this channel, to become someone who's able to ease in and out of books and life and to live a really excellent life because you're able to possess a mind that is so fine-tuned and refined. So that's all I have for this week. Leave me your comments down below. Do you also struggle with this kind of guilt problem? And do you think, some people have taken it too far by categorizing reading as a moral obligation? And could you perhaps recommend some of your own methods for integrating reading into a part of your life instead of an isolated island in your life. Anyway, thank you for watching this week's video, and we will be back here next week with more. Robin Waldun here. Take care, and goodbye.